under no circumstances would we have acted the same, because perhaps you were not tempted to steal gasoline from a clandestine outlet, but perhaps you were tempted to give bribes to the authorities so that the procedures are faster, or to avoid a fine. Or, you were tempted to fail to comply with your work schedule, or falsify the use of per diem, or modify some numbers to make your report look better. We are not better, and we have nothing to boast about, but only the grace of the Lord, and that should lead us to love Him, fear Him, and obey Him. After remembering the incident at Mount Sinai when God gives the tables of the law to Moses, and when he comes down he finds the people immersed in the idolatry of a golden calf and all the successive events, Moses tells them, by way of instruction and direction, to this second generation that was going to possess the promised land. Deuteronomy 10:12-13. And now, Israel, what does the Lord your God ask of you? Simply that you fear Him and walk in all His ways, that you love Him and serve Him with all your heart and with all your soul. 13. And that you fulfill the commandments and precepts that He commands you to fulfill today, so that it may go well with you. As we said, the covenant relationship with God was not based on the righteousness of the people. This relationship was based on the grace that God had for them. So, this instruction to love and serve the Lord with all your heart is not, in the strict sense, a requirement for them to earn the love of God, but rather, it is the consequence of having been loved by God. He who has been loved by God responds accordingly to that reality, loving the Lord with all his heart. Obedience is not, in the strict sense, a requirement, but a consequence or result of being in a loving relationship with God. So, obeying God in terms of justice and mercy is not a meritorious work, it is not earning a little star for my forehead, it is not guaranteeing or buying God's affection, but it is a response of adoration before the one who loved us first. Every act of justice and every act of mercy will always be a response of worship to our great God of the covenant. Deuteronomy 10:14-16. To the Lord your God belong the heavens and the highest heavens, the earth, and everything in it. However, He was fond of your ancestors and loved them, and you, who are His offspring, He chose from among all peoples, as we see today. Therefore, get rid of the pagan that is in your heart, and no longer be stubborn. Next, Moses emphasizes what God has done toward His people. He talks about how majestic the Lord is, to Him belong the heavens, the earth and everything in it. This God lacks nothing. He doesn't need anything. However, 547. This great God of heaven and earth loved a people and chose them, as we have already seen, by grace. These are the great works of the God who loved, chose, and redeemed a people for Himself. In Christ, we have the joy of being part of that people loved and chosen by the great God of the covenant. The logical response to the works of God is wholehearted worship, for which we must strip away what is rebellious in our hearts to subject it in total obedience